Angus,
Sure.
Mr. Angus Scott. I am so excited to talk to you. You and I went through hardcore leadership 2 years ago. We were age sale 40, the 40th group. You and I met in person in Austin,
We
Texas.
did. We shared a dance.
And we got to dance. We got to dance. This is so incredible. I really appreciate you. I've seen your posts online. You've invited me into your workshops where we did this little making space for love. And
Yeah.
I popped in there and it really blessed me. So, can you take a minute to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you're about, and where your leadership journey began.
Yeah. My name's Angus Scott. I'm from the Phoenix, Arizona area. I guess some of the defining things of my life is that I went through two divorces and I never thought that I would. Both of them were a shock to me. I realized I had something to do with both of those. We don't need to get into that, but realized I knew that I was contributing to those things in ways I didn't understand. While I would have always considered myself a trier, meaning if you had an idea for a way for me to improve, I was all about it. I realized there was something going on deeper than I could understand consciously, and finally found a program that could speak to my unconscious mind and help me change it, not just understand it. So when I realized how quickly change can happen and how almost miraculously it can be when you begin communicating with the unconscious, and saw a dramatic change in my life, that was when I knew I needed to learn that and I needed to understand it so that I could help as many other people with that as well. So that's what my partner Mayan and I do, is that we both believe in love. We both experienced divorce. So now we help people heal to attract and create their ideal, what we call epic love story. We love helping people create and attract a wonderful partner they've always wanted to bring in by being the best partner they can possibly be. The better you've prepared and the more healthy you are, the better caliber partner you can attract to you. So that's what we do.
Wow. That is gorgeous. I love that. So cool. Okay. So after you're making space for love, 5 day, it was a free online event that you guys posted. It was it
It's
was
a
really
challenge journey.
fun. And I remember when you got to this part, I don't want to spoil the surprise. Now, it must have been, it was a day 2 or 3, but we were into the program. You're like, okay, go look around your house and see where your partner would fit. Is there room for your partner? It was just so hilarious. And I remember videoing that. And I was like, oh, guys, here's my old mattress with secondhand mattress on the floor. And sometimes I sleep here and sometimes I sleep in the other bed. And it's
I think you even said something about sometimes your son sleeps in this bed or something like that. And so it was like, you've been wanting to attract that partner into your life, and you became very aware that there's no space for that. You don't have room for that at that time in
yeah.
your life. And so it was a wake up call, I think, for you.
And it has been a journey because my house is under renovation. And when the renovation started to get longer and longer and longer, because of my leadership training, I had to start looking, okay, what is Trina got going on underneath here that's creating this on the outside? And like you said, the things that I was digging into in this renovation here, they're not just things that showed up in the last 10 months since I've lived in this house. We were digging back into really old programming of, oh, okay, this is what I was creating. And it was really cool because shortly after that, I had this friend and we're friends, and it's not romantic. In between jobs and moved cities and moved into my home with the desire, really cool. His desire, his declaration is, I just want to be the best partner ever. Learning in this safe way, like it's non-romantic, but we get to be good friends and we get to support one another in practice.
Yeah.
Hey, what would it be like to live with me? Okay, and being able to mirror one another. So that's been a huge blessing. And I did that Facebook post to help me make space for extra people in my house.
Yeah.
Why? Because it wasn't just a husband in my life that didn't want to live with me. It was when we moved here, all of a sudden the kids are like, mom, it's not that easy. So I've had that opportunity to really look underneath.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn the leadership, you've planted the seed, and then the sprouts are coming up, but it takes a while before the thoughts really change
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
start to bear fruit from the new beliefs in your life. Do you want to touch on that? I'd like to know about your leadership journey. You said you had come from a place where two divorces, and this is the path of my leadership so far has been me down this path.
Yeah.
And how did that change with you and Mayan?
I would say the first thing regarding that is that both of us had taken some of the same courses, and we actually met at one of those training courses. So we had an amazing shared language because we understood how the unconscious mind worked and how these programs worked. And we'd been through some of the same things. When we communicated, we had wonderful tools to support each other and wonderful ways to communicate through that. So that was amazingly helpful for our relationship. I would say with regard to the leadership portion, even though I had new information and I had the trainings and the certifications, there was still something that I didn't actually believe that anybody would trust me or that anyone would want my help with where they were at in their situation. And it wasn't until I took HCL 40 where I had one of my coaches who saw me and believed in me. And because of the structure of that course, that it forced me out of the nest. You keep saying you're going to do this stuff, but you're not really taking action. Like, you're certified as a coach and stuff, but do you have any clients? Are you really living this or not? And so throughout that program, I got to identify what was my next step and what was a meaningful action that I could take. And then I was coached to that action, but also held accountable and supported by my coaches and by my teammates to actually follow through and begin taking real steps that absolutely made a huge difference. And then I can't speak highly enough about the importance of community, because I believe that culture is critical, and your community that you surround yourself with is absolutely going to either make or break you. So when you have just your regular friends or your family that, maybe they're supportive, maybe they're not, but they've gotten you to this point in your life, are they going to get you to the next point? Having people around you who are all aiming higher, who are all scrambling, like we're all climbing a different tree, but we're all at least climbing the tree. We are all scrambling up it. And sometimes we slide down to the bottom and we have to start again, but we're all actively climbing our own trees. Out in the world, there's a lot of people who are just comfortable sitting in the shade, not going anywhere. They're not changing anything. Some of them are actually digging holes. Like they're actively digging holes in their life, right? But in that community where people were motivated and were highly encouraging, they're holding you accountable, but they're also supporting you. They're not like tearing you down because you didn't follow through. They're actually helping you look at, okay, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't. Why? What's underneath that? Asking some of the questions where you get to look within and say, oh, I do this in other areas of my life. You were just sharing, Trina, about your house. Oh, this is how I show up. Oh, here's why. Okay, are you ready to let go of that and move to the next level? And so over the course of 4 months, I'll just be real candid. The first week, the first day for sure, I hated it. I was like, why am I here? Why did I waste the time to take off of work? I should be working right now. This is the biggest waste of time. I was so in my shit. I was, I guess, triggered, even though I don't like that word. And I look back, I'm like, oh, I was being an ass. Like, I thought that I didn't belong there, didn't need to be there. Certainly it was a wake up call for me. And there were amazing people who saw my nonsense, didn't judge me for it, held me through that. I like to say, instead of called out, they called me higher and saw some greatness in me that I was fighting and trying to dig my own holes in my life. So having those people that were that community that created a new culture that has literally turned my life around, and to where now most of my time is spent coaching, most of my time is spent helping people. And it's amazing. I wouldn't have maybe taken that action if I hadn't had that group surrounding me.
It's incredible. I love what you said, Angus. I really love what you said. You said it's community and people holding you high. And I remember those times because, like, even now when it was a community where we felt, where we learned. At first, we didn't feel safe necessarily, but we learned that we want feedback. We don't actually want people just pretending. Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Oh, right there. Oh, it was a culture where we were required, encouraged, give open, honest feedback. What are you really seeing out of this person? If you don't give them open, honest feedback, you're not being kind.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I would say, to an extent, almost all of us have, we've gotten comfortable and good at telling the lies that keep us where we're at to the people that we're surrounded by. And they've gotten good at accepting those lies and celebrating where you're at and the efforts that you've put forward so far. And so obviously there are exceptions, and there are stellar people that are out there crushing their dreams and living that. But for the vast majority of people, we're going through the motions, getting the paycheck, clocking in, clocking out, creating an average relationship with our spouse or our girlfriend at best. Or if we have kids, we're doing the best that we know how to do, but our relationship with our kids is average. Like, where is the level of greatness if somebody's not reflecting back to you? Hey, you say you're going to do this thing, but you keep making this excuse and you're not living up to your own like high standards. What's underneath that? And having those people that will tell you the truth and reflect back to you, this is how you're showing up. You say you want this, but you're showing up at this level. You're never going to get that if you don't change something. And then them actively choosing to support you getting there. It's really incredible to have somebody that cares about you, tell you the truth, and help you get to where you want with the different results.
I love it. It's so true. It's so true. Can't even emphasize enough that power. And the divorce is feedback.
Oh, yeah.
That was the feedback that gave you. And then the second one, and you're like, really? Okay. I thought I had things fixed. And for me, it was okay. I got through the divorce and I got my kids 50-50. And then we all move, and the kids find it way easier to be with their dad because very sweet and kind and doesn't push them. He's just a nice man. And I'm also a lovely person, and I have a different personality. And there was stuff I've been working through. They're hard. I moved away from my supportive community where I was in a new space, and I've been figuring things out. And there's been a huge gift in that journey that we've created here. So sometimes that when you understand, I love to say this, we are AI. When we understand, we are the computer program. We are the results. We are the ones running the AI, the actual intelligence.
Gotcha.
And when we put a prompt in here, it comes out. Our life shows us what the prompts are. What did we type in to when we get that awareness, then there's a different relationship that we have with the world around us. We're not playing victim. What's showing up on the outside is coming through the inside. Let's figure this out and change the story. Let go of the story and change the program. So
one of the metaphors that comes up for me, I've shared it with a couple of people, but here in Arizona, and there's these types of cactuses throughout the country, but there are cactuses called prickly pear cactuses. And prickly pear cactuses are relatively flat. They look like the shape of a palm of your hand. And there's, I don't even know how many different species. So they're all different. Some of them have long spikes. Some of them have almost no spikes. They get beautiful fruit. Some people make jelly or margaritas out of them and stuff like that. I like to say that the relationships that we have with people, whether it's our spouses, whether it's our kids or our coworkers or a community like we're talking about in leadership, all relationships create a level of friction. And so when we're on our own and things are just fine and we're doing our own thing, we think we're good. We've got it all. Yeah. But the friction comes into play because some of those cactuses have the finest, tiniest little needles. When I'm talking about like less than 1/8 of an inch and smaller than a human hair. And if you brush up against them, you'll get them inside your skin, but you can't really see them. And so you'll try and pick them all up and you'll go weeks and think like, you'll even have forgotten that it happened. And then you'll go to pick up a glass of water or something and be like, ow, there must be another one in there somewhere. And that's the friction of the glass. The glass didn't do anything to you. The water didn't do anything to you. The action of picking up didn't do anything to you. It's that there's something still inside of you that's creating a pain because you haven't dealt with it yet. You thought you did.
That is, but
you didn't.
Good one. Oh man.
And if you don't create a community of people who care about you, who can be that friction and be like, oh, there's still something in here. Let's get this out. What you will do is you'll create friction in other areas and think that other people are hurting you. You'll have friction with your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You'll have friction with your kids, with your coworkers, with your ex. That friction is going to come and you're going to be angry at them because they hurt you. They didn't really hurt you.
Yeah.
There's just stuff you haven't dealt with yet. And they're the friction that's pointing it out.
Yeah. It wasn't the thing you were picking up. It was the thing inside you.
You can choose to arbitrarily let future friction happen whenever it does with the relationships that you're in, with the coworkers and stuff at any point in the future. Or you can actively say, I want to deal with as much of this friction as possible right now so that I can find those little trigger points and remove them as quickly as possible so they don't hurt me 6 months from now, a year from now, so they don't get infected and cause more damage long term. I'm going to deal with them now in the short term by surrounding yourself with a community of people who will be that friction for you, who will push it up against you and make you uncomfortable and make you realize, I keep ignoring this thing, or I thought I had it all, but there's still something there. Time for me to deal with it. And I think that's the beautiful part of a community like the HL community.
Wow. So cool. Okay. So give us an example. We've been talking in the abstract. What's an example of something, a belief that you've changed, that you used to hold, that was creating the problems and the friction that now is just not there?
One of the most glaring and quickest change examples is that I had a relationship with time that I was okay with that was causing problems and I didn't realize it. So one of the things, if I was ever on time, it was a surprise. Kind of everybody who knew me was like, yeah, Angus is coming. It wasn't like I wouldn't show. I would definitely be there, but you didn't know if I was going to be there 5 minutes late or 25 minutes late, but it wasn't going to be early. And so I learned through that program that some people, they have to be on time. And if you're not on time, they get massively upset or offended because you don't take them seriously and you don't value their time. So I was creating problems in my relationships with people that I loved and that loved me, but were irritated at me all the time because I said I would be there at a certain time. And yeah, I got there, but not on time. So they would be waiting for me for 15, 20, 25 minutes. I always had an excuse, and there was always usually a pretty good excuse, but it was still an excuse and it still doesn't justify wasting their time. So since then, I've gotten significantly better about if I say I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, I am there at a certain time. And if I'm having a conversation, which actually this is relevant because I have a call coming up here. I haven't been watching the clock, but I know it's getting close, where I have to be honest with people up front. Like, I'm loving this conversation and I have to pause it. Can we come back to this in the future? I'll call you back in a little bit, or I'll call you back tomorrow because I made another time commitment and I have to honor that time commitment. So I'm going to have to go soon. And so just the language around it, the thinking around it, the relationship to time and honoring my word with it has massively changed. And it's definitely affected other relationships that I have in a great way.
Right. Because it could be just a belief. Like, it's a belief and a habit. I don't have time to be on time. And if it sounds like you've changed that belief. So now it's, what's your new belief? Oh, I always show up on time. What's your new belief?
Yeah. For me, I don't know what it was specifically. I didn't take a specific belief, but it's a decision that I'm going to be on time. So that's how I show up now.
I love that. I heard a podcast this week where he was saying that everything starts with a decision.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Okay. We think that change takes a long time. It doesn't. The decision to change can take a long time. Once you make the decision, change can happen in an instant. And I'm absolutely evidence of that. So if you're out there and you don't know that to be true, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Check me out on Instagram at the Angus Scott, or go to youropiclove.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you.
It's been so beautiful. Thank you so much for showing up. God bless.
My pleasure.
You. Love it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Bye.